What's up, Warriors fans? After everything that went down yesterday afternoon and later at night, there's just way too much for us to unpack here. Dub Nation, we've got some serious talking to do. Let's not beat around the bush. The Kevin Durant saga. Yeah, it's officially over. The Houston Rockets went all in and got their guy. And honestly, it's hard not to feel disappointed looking at how it all unfolded. Not just because the Warriors didn't land KD again, but because of how laughably little the Suns got in return and how scary this move makes the Rockets going forward. Let's rewind for a second. The Rockets pulled off a blockbuster. They sent out Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th overall pick in this year's draft, and 5 future first-round picks to Phoenix. That's a haul for sure. But when you compare it to what the Warriors could have offered, it makes you shake your head. If the Suns had just shown a little patience and waited until July 1st, they would have had a way better package coming their way from Golden State. We're talking about a deal that could have featured Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, Pods, and maybe even a first-round pick tossed in for good measure. But nope. Phoenix decided to panic and grab the first decent offer that came before the draft, instead of waiting for the best overall deal. And you know what? The real ISSUE here isn't just that the Warriors missed out on Durant. It's that the Rockets leveled up in a big way. And I mean big. Let's take a look at what Houston's working with now at point guard. You've got 6'3" Fred VanVleet running the show at shooting guard. There's 6'6" Amen Thompson bringing that athleticism and length. Slide over to the small forward spot, and here's where it gets wild. Kevin Durant, who they list at 6'11", but let's be real, he's at least 7 feet tall. Then at power forward, you've got Jabari Smith Jr., another guy hovering around 6'10". And at center, Alperen Sengun, who's a full 7-footer holding down the paint. And that's just the starting 5. Off the bench, yeah, they've got size there too. Steven Adams is in the mix, bringing veteran toughness and interior presence. And don't forget about Kem Whitmore, who's another young, athletic wing with potential to explode any night. This team's not just taller, they're longer, more athletic, and now they've got a 2-time Finals MVP who knows how to close out playoff series. That's the part that really stings. Now look, we all know the Warriors have owned the Rockets in the playoffs for the better part of the last decade. That's not up for debate. This goes all the way back to the dynasties. First chapter in 2015 when Golden State took down Houston in the Western Conference Finals. That was the original Big Three: Steph, Klay, and Draymond going up against James Harden and Dwight Howard. Back when Dwight was still a real force in the league and not bouncing around as a journeyman. And then in 2016, it happened again. The Warriors were the legendary 73-9 squad that handled business in the first round like it was just another day at the office. Remember, JB Bickerstaff was actually coaching that Rockets team back then. Fast forward a couple more years and we hit the Mike D'Antoni era. That Rockets squad with Chris Paul and James Harden was tough, pushed the Warriors to 7 games. But in the end, the Dubs came out on top like they always did, even this past season. When the two teams met again in the postseason, the Warriors pulled it off, took it to 7 games, sure, but they sealed the deal still. Let's not ignore the warning signs that came out of that series. After 4 games, Golden State was sitting on a 3-1 lead. By all rights, that should have been wrapped up in Game 5, but it wasn't. Houston's youth, their length, their athleticism, those things forced the series to stretch all the way to a decisive Game 7. And the only reason the Warriors survived was their championship experience. They leaned on that battle-tested DNA when it mattered most. But now, with Kevin Durant in a Rockets uniform, that safety net might not be enough next time around. If Houston, with all their inexperience, could push the Warriors to the brink just months ago, what's going to happen the next time these teams meet, especially with Durant leading the charge? Whether it's next postseason or the one after that, one thing feels certain: the Warriors are going to have to face this new-look Rockets squad at least once. And let's be brutally honest, the window for this Golden State core is closing fast to more postseasons at most before it's officially time to turn the page and start building for the future. And here's what's keeping me up at night: if the Rockets, with barely any playoff reps, could storm back from a 3-1 hole, what do you think they're going to do now that they've got a Finals MVP in their lineup? Experience used to be the Warriors' ace in the hole. Now, it feels like that advantage is shrinking by the day. On top of that, the size disadvantage the Warriors have been dealing with, that's only going to get more painful. If this roster stays as it's currently constructed, There's no way they're making it through the gauntlet of the Western Conference. The writing's on the wall. Last night was another reminder of that when the Thunder handled their business against the Pacers. Let's not sugarcoat it. If the Warriors want to get back to the finals, they're going to have to go through Oklahoma City too, and the Thunder, man, that team is a matchup nightmare in its own right. They've got the Twin Towers look with Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein anchoring the front court. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 6'6" running the point, slicing through defenses with ease. Then there's Alex Caruso, the glue guy every championship team needs. Len Williams, who's coming off a breakout season where he was straight up killing it. That lineup is no joke. So here we are, the big question every Warriors fan is asking, what now? I've said it before and I'll say it again, they need to get bigger. They need to get longer, and they need to get better. The team standing in their way, the Rockets, the Thunder, the Mavericks, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, they've all got size and length that Golden State just can't match right now. Yeah, we get it. The Warriors revolutionized the NBA a decade ago. They changed the way championships are won. They were the first real jump shooting, small ball team to win it all. And over the past 10 years, 6 trips to the finals. For championship banners, that's legendary stuff. But the league's evolved again. The blueprints shifted. If the Warriors want to hang one more banner before this core rides off into the sunset, they need to adapt. Because here's the reality. Outside of the Rockets and the Thunder, they're also going to have to contend with a retooled Mavericks squad that's adding Cooper Flagg and likely bringing in another point guard. While Kyrie Irving sits out next season, they'll have to deal with Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, who bring size and skill at every position. The Timberwolves with Rudy Gobert. Yeah, that's another monster waiting down the road. And we all saw how things fell apart when Steph went down this postseason. Without him, this team couldn't buy a bucket, couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat, and defensively, they couldn't match up with bigger, more physical teams. Gobert dominated the paint, and the Warriors had no answers. That can't happen again. So where's the fix coming from? Free agency, mostly. Jonathan Kuminga is the biggest trade chip the Warriors have right now. And with the market heating up, the front office knows it's time to make moves. Teams are sniffing around. The Miami Heat, fresh off missing out on Kevin Durant, are reportedly interested. The Chicago Bulls are in the mix too, trying to salvage their roster after that failed big money experiment that brought in Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine. That whole project fell apart once Lonzo went down with injury, and now they're scrambling to figure out what's next. And don't forget, other teams are keeping an eye on the Warriors' situation too, waiting to see how things shake out with Kuminga and the rest of the roster. The phone lines are going to be busy as we get closer to the draft. Now, speaking of the draft, even though the Warriors only hold the 41st pick, there's still a real chance to grab a prospect who can help immediately or at least be part of a future trade package. One name that keeps popping up is Hanson Young. Yeah, he's a bit of a project, but the numbers don't lie. Averaging 25 and 12 in the CBA is no small feat. The Bay Area's huge Asian American community would absolutely embrace a player like him. Imagine that 7-foot to frame coming off the bench or even starting by midseason. That's the kind of interior presence this team desperately needs. And look, let's be clear, the draft is just the start. The real movement begins there. But free agency and trade season right after July 1st, that's when things will really heat up. The Warriors have to be aggressive, even if it means acting as a facilitator in bigger deals just to snag assets they can flip later. They need to stay in every conversation. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. A murmuring has begun to ripple through NBA circles, suggesting a sensational reunion could be on the horizon for the Golden State Warriors and former Finals MVP Kevin Durant. While still firmly in the realm of speculation, recent chatter indicates that the possibility of Durant donning a Warriors jersey once more is becoming a more concrete discussion point. Sources close to the situation, who wish to remain anonymous given the sensitive nature of trade talks, hint that Durant himself has expressed a newfound openness to a return to the Bay Area. The superstar forward, reportedly contacted by representatives from the Warriors, is said to have conveyed a simple yet impactful message: "I'm coming back to the team." This sentiment, if true, marks a significant shift from previous reports that suggested Durant was resistant to rejoining his former championship squad. The prospect of Durant reuniting with Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green is A tantalizing one for Warriors fans who have yearned for a return to championship contention. While the specific details of any potential trade remain shrouded in secrecy, the mere utterance of Durant's desire to rejoin Golden State has ignited a flurry of behind-the-scenes activity. Could this be the blockbuster move that reshapes the Western Conference? The buzz is growing louder, and the possibility of Kevin Durant's return to the Golden State Warriors is no longer just a distant dream, but a tantalizing whisper on the wind. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.